Listen to me carefully, because this moment right here might be the last warning before your breakthrough. You didn't come here by accident. You were called. You were summoned by something higher, something stronger than fear, something louder than the noise of your failures. That voice inside you that keeps whispering, "There's more. You were made for more." That voice isn't a lie. It's a reminder of who you truly are. But here's the truth. The world won't hand it to you. Life won't kneel and bow in front of you. And no one will come to push you unless you decide to rise. You want victory? Then first understand, it doesn't come to the lucky. It comes to the prepared. It comes to the believer. It comes to the one who is willing to fight when the weapons are gone, to walk when the road is broken, to shout, "E will not stop," when the world says are finished. If you dare to stay with me through every word of this speech, I will speak to your bones. I will speak to that part of you that has been crushed, ignored, forgotten. I will wake up the warrior in you, not with sweet words, but with truth, with fire, with clarity. You've been discouraged long enough. You've listened to fear long enough. You've waited long enough. Now it is time. Time to stand. Time to believe. Time to walk the victory path. If you believe you can do it, don't just sit quietly. Listen with your spirit. Because from this moment on, everything you thought was holding you back will begin to lose its power. And everything you were born to be will start rising. You see, the battle doesn't start when people begin to doubt you. It doesn't start when life throws punches. It doesn't even begin when the obstacles show up. The true battle, the one that decides your victory or your defeat, starts the moment you wake up and look at yourself. It starts in your thoughts, in the secret corners of your mind where no one can hear the war but you. That's where victory is first won or lost. The world will see the results of that battle later, but it begins quietly in that invisible place where fear whispers, "You can't," and hope dares to respond, "Yes, I can." You've been taught to fight the enemies outside. But what about the enemy inside? The one that wears your voice, that looks like your reflection in the mirror, that speaks with your mouth but carries the words of your pain, your failure, your past. That voice is the most dangerous one. Because when you believe it, when you accept that doubt, you surrender before the race even begins. You lose without trying. But listen to me. You were never created to live in the shadows of fear. You were never designed to be a prisoner of hesitation. You have power. You have something the world didn't give you. And because of that, the world can't take it away. But you must reach for it. You must dig through every lie that has wrapped around your mind like chains. You must rip the labels off. Too weak, too late, not enough, and throw them to the ground. Because the first step toward victory is not in doing more. It's in believing more. Believing in the fire that still flickers inside you. Believing in your right to rise. Believing that even if you fall 100 times, the next step still counts. Believing that it's not over unless you decide it is. That's where the shift begins. People always ask, how do I change my life? And I always say, start by changing your belief. Not just what you say to others, but what you say to yourself when no one is watching. What do you whisper to yourself in the dark moments? When the world is silent? Because your words shape your world. If you say you're finished, you will behave like someone defeated. If you say you're cursed, you will walk as if favor doesn't belong to you. But if you dare to say, I am chosen, I am rising, I am not giving up, then even when you're crawling, you're still moving towards something. You're not stuck, you're in process. You must be ruthless with your doubt. You must call it what it is, an intruder. You don't argue with it. You don't entertain it. You cast it out like poison, because that's what it is. Every second you let it sit inside you, it eats away at your potential. It corrodes your strength. It silences your voice. You are not here to be silent. You are not here to live small. This is why your belief matters more than your conditions. Some people have everything and still fail. Others start with nothing and still rise. Why? Because belief is a force that doesn't obey circumstance. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't wait for confirmation. It creates its own path. When you believe with everything in you, even the ground beneath you begins to shift. Doors open. Favor finds you. You attract what you were convinced you deserve. And you no longer settle for crumbs when you are made for greatness. But belief isn't just words. It's a decision. It's a posture. It's standing in front of the storm and saying, I'm still going. It's walking through rejection and saying, this will not define me. It's holding your head up when everything around you tells you to collapse. That's the kind of belief that breaks chains. That's the kind of belief that builds nations, raises warriors, transforms lives. And that belief, it begins in you. You don't need the world to agree with you. You don't need everyone to clap for you. You don't even need perfect conditions. You just need to believe. Truly, deeply, stubbornly believe. Because when you do, nothing can stop what is coming next. And once that belief is planted, it starts to grow roots. Anna, hot. Not shallow, not temporary, but deep and unshakable. And when it grows, you grow. When it moves, you move. And when it stands, unbending, fearless, ready to become unstoppable. So if you hear me now, don't just listen, decide to believe, not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because everything changes the moment you believe you can. They told you that pain is a sign of weakness, but they were wrong. Pain is not your enemy. It's your invitation. An invitation to become more, to go deeper, to rise stronger. You see, life never gives you elevation without friction. And those moments when you feel like everything is falling apart, that's when something sacred is being constructed inside of you. Don't rush to escape your pain. Don't numb it. Don't curse it. Instead, ask it, what are you here to teach me? Because the truth is, pain does not visit without purpose. Some of you listening right now, you've been trying to run from what broke you. You've been trying to silence the echoes of your past, trying to outrun your losses, your betrayals, your disappointments. But let me speak into your soul. You cannot outrun pain. You must face it, feel it, and use it. It was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you, to uncover the warrior inside of you who only awakens in fire. You don't discover your true strength in comfort. You discover it when everything is stripped away and still, you keep walking. Pain sharpens the vision. When things are easy, you forget who you are. But in hardship, you're forced to choose. Will I collapse or will I climb? Every tear you've cried has watered the soil of your future. Every heartbreak has forged a deeper capacity to love, to understand, to lead. Every failure, every rejection, every silence you endured, they weren't punishments. They were preparation. They carved out the space for greatness to live. You cannot have power without pain. You cannot walk in victory without first walking through valleys. That's why I tell you, don't be ashamed of what you've suffered. Wear it like armor. Let it be your reminder that you've been through the fire and you're still standing. That means you're dangerous to anything that tries to break you again. The same pain that once made you cry will one day make you roar. Because you didn't stay down. You didn't give up. You didn't let it define you. You let it refine you. Stop seeing pain as a setback. Start seeing it as a signal. A divine announcement that you are close to breakthrough. That something is shifting. Growth never shows up clean. It shows up through tears, through nights with no sleep, through days where everything feels heavy and no one understands. But that's when you must decide to keep moving anyway. Because pain is temporary. But the purpose it unlocks, eternal. There's no shortcut to transformation. There's no detour around hardship. You must walk through it with your eyes wide open and your spirit on fire. And when you do, you realize something powerful. The same thing that tried to bury you was actually planting you. You were not buried to rot. You were planted to rise. Your roots grow deeper when no one sees you. Your strength multiplies in silence. The darkness is not your prison. It's your process. People may look at you and see the smile, the confidence, the strength, but they don't know what it cost you. They don't see the nights you broke down, the moments you almost gave up, the seasons where nothing made sense, and still you kept believing. That pain was not wasted. It was building the kind of foundation that storms cannot shake. It was giving you the authority to speak, the courage to lead, and the humility to rise without arrogance. You see, anyone can pretend strength when life is easy, but only the real ones are forged through fire. You can't fake what you've earned in the dark. The pain you've endured has earned you a voice that carries weight, a presence that brings peace, a fire that can't be faked. That's why you can look back and say, it was hard, but it made me, and no one can take that away from you. So stop asking, oh, why me? Start declaring, it had to be me. 'Cause only someone with your depth could carry what you're about to carry. Only someone with your story could stand where you're about to stand. And only someone who has walked through pain with purpose can lead others to freedom. Use your pain. Let it be your compass. Let it point you toward your calling. Let it remind you that you didn't come this far to quit. Let it fuel you when motivation fades. Because this is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your rising. They will always try to define you before you discover who you really are. They'll give you names that sound like truth but carry chains. You're too quiet. You're not smart enough. You come from the wrong place. You don't look the part. And if you're not awake, you will wear those labels like they belong to you. You will carry them like a second skin and walk through life shrinking yourself, just to fit the image others placed on you. But hear me now. You are not who they say you are. You are not their opinions. You are not their projections. You are not their limitations. From the moment you started walking, people have tried to put you in a box. They couldn't understand your vision, so they tried to shrink it. They couldn't see your fire, so they tried to smother it. They couldn't feel your calling, so they mocked it. But just because they couldn't see it, doesn't mean it wasn't real. Their blindness doesn't define your path. Their small thinking doesn't measure your potential. You were not made to be explained. You were made to be revealed. You were born with something that doesn't fit into statistics. You carry a code that cannot be calculated. Your journey isn't meant to make sense to everyone. It's meant to shake the system. And systems don't like what they can't control. So of course they'll try to tame you. Of course they'll try to redirect your steps. But if you want to walk the path of victory, you must decide, will I live for their approval or will I live for my purpose? Because you can't do both. You must break free from the fear of disappointing people who were never assigned to understand you. When no one claps for you, when no one checks in, when your name isn't mentioned and your effort isn't seen, you are doing this because something inside you refuses to die. Something inside you believes that breakthrough is on the other side of consistency. That kind of belief can't be faked. It's born in fire. It's born in the moments when your strength is gone, and all you have left is your why. When the road stretches out with no clear end, but you keep walking because stopping would betray your own soul, that's when you're truly being shaped. When you push through even though everything around you is screaming, give up! Victory doesn't come on your schedule. It doesn't arrive when it's convenient. It shows up when you've proven you can carry it. When your character is heavy enough to hold the weight of what you're asking for. That's why the waiting matters. That's why the delays are not denial, they're development. You are not being ignored. You are being prepared, so don't despise the days when nothing moves. Don't curse the days when no one notices. Because those are the days your roots are growing deeper. Those are the days you're being trained to stand, not sway. If your belief only lasts when things go your way, then it's not belief, it's convenience. But if you can keep your fire lit when the storm doesn't pass, if you can keep walking when the doors don't open, that's when you become unstoppable. This path requires endurance. It requires grit. It requires grit. There are no shortcuts to greatness. There are no elevators to elevation. You climb step by step, sometimes on bleeding feet, sometimes with tears in your eyes, but you climb anyway. And the higher you go, the fewer people you'll find. Because not everyone is willing to be relentless. Not everyone can stay loyal to a vision they haven't seen come to life yet. You must be different. You have to keep believing, even when the facts say give up. You have to speak life, even when the atmosphere feels dead. You have to sow seeds when the ground looks dry. Because your faith isn't based on what is, it's based on what will be. That's how builders think. That's how world changers move. They don't need proof to begin, they become the proof. Sometimes the greatest test of your strength is how long you're willing to walk without applause. How long you can fight without being seen. How many times you can be overlooked, counted out and underestimated, and still not fold. That's the real power. Not in how loud you are, but in how consistent you are when everything goes quiet. You've got to become the kind of person who believes so deeply in their purpose that even when the world turns its back, you turn your face forward. Even when people walk away, you walk ahead. Even when the door stays closed, you knock again. And if it still doesn't open, you build your own. Because those who keep going, even when nothing makes sense, those are the ones who shift history. So if you feel like giving up, don't. If everything feels stuck, keep moving. If your prayers haven't been answered, keep believing. Because you're not just on the path, you're shaping it. And every step you take, even the silent ones, is leading you closer to everything they said you'd never reach. And when you finally arrive, when the door opens, when the light breaks, when the world sees what you've become, it won't be a surprise. It'll be confirmation. Proof that relentless belief, even in the face of delay, is the language of destiny.